I hope that you are too. We've been reading lots of bug books, insects, and arachnids. I wanted to show you this really big picture of all the different classes of animals. We've already talked about the insects and the invertebrates. There's mammals and birds and fish and amphibians and reptiles. All different classes of animals. Pretty cool. Since we already finished with our insects, let's look at mammals. Where we live, there's a lot of smaller mammals that live in the woods and the forests around here. And a lot of them sleep in the day and hunt at night. Remember what we call that? Nocturnal. They're nocturnal animals. Well, let's look at this book. Wake Up Kisses by Pamela Duncan Edwards and Henry Cole. Wake Up Kisses. The pictures are very dark. These animals are waking up at night. The sun has gone down. The moon is bright. The air is filled with sounds of night. Katydid, Katydid, Katydid's calling. Everyone up, the dark is falling. Wake up, hoots Owl. Twee-hoo, twee-hoo. Open your eyes, there's lots to do. Rise and shine, Field Mouse squeaks, stuffing breakfast in baby's cheeks. Lazy heads, a possum hisses. I'm waiting to get my wake-up kisses. With her babies are all riding on her back. Cries Mother Bat, it's time to fly, gliding, flapping through the sky. Stretch those wings, chitter, chitter, chatter, cries Flying Squirrel to her litter. They aren't really wings, are they? No, just skin flaps. Croak, croak, Tree Frog sings. Let's get busy doing things. In overcoats striped white and black, little skunks wait for their twilight snack. Growls Raccoon, I've made plans. I'll teach you to raid the garbage cans. They're waking up, our nighttime friends. Their day begins when our day ends. We're snuggled in bed. Time to turn out the light. But we'll see all of them in our dreams tonight. Wake up, wake up. Parents, just a little tip to remember. Rhyming is very important for your child's literacy development. Rhyming exposes children to word families and familiar sounds that different words can make. Helping your child hear rhymes will help them later to sound out words when they learn to read. Sometimes when you're reading a rhyming book like this one, you can let your child fill in some of the rhyming words like, the sun has gone, the moon is bright, the air is filled with sounds of. See if they can guess what word will fit in there. Guess what? This is National Bat Week. Actually, when you're watching this, it was last week. We're wrapping it up. That's kind of cool. You can go on batweek.org and see all kinds of cool, I call them citizen science things that you can do to help the bats in our world. Let's read a little bit about bats. Bats are interesting animals. there are more than 1,000 different types of bats that live all over the world. Bats live in caves. Some bats can be found inside trees. Other bats might live in attics in someone's house. Sometimes bats can even be seen under bridges. Bats sleep upside down. Bats have claws that cling to trees and cave walls. Bats fly. But bats are not insects. We studied insects that fly. Bats are not birds. Birds do have wings, but birds don't. Birds have feathers, right? Bats don't have feathers. Bats have fur. That's because bats are mammals. Bats are the only mammals that fly. Some bats live in small families. Other bats live in large families. Large or small, these groups are called colonies. Each year, a mother bat usually has one pup. A pup is a baby bat. Do you know another animal that's called a pup? There's seal pups and dog pups. And baby bats are pups. The mother bat needs to find food for her pup. While the mother bat hunts for food, the pup stays home. Most bats eat bugs or fruit. Some bats drink the sweet nectar, the juice that's inside of flowers, the nectar. And bats help farmers. Many catch bugs that eat farmers' crops. And just like bees, some bats carry pollen from plant to plant when they rub against them. That helps the plants make seeds. Bats use sound to find their way at night. The sound comes back to the bat's ears as an echo. We call that echolocation. That's a big word. Can you say echolocation? I'm going to put my book down because we're going to clap that. You ready? Echolocation. 5-clap word. There's your new word for today. Vampire bats bite cows and birds and drink a tiny bit of blood for their food. And look at this bat. Look at his big ears. Guess what he's called? A long-eared bat. Long-eared bats fly during the night and use echolocation to find food when they're hungry. They eat moths, spiders, and other insects. In winter, some bats migrate. That means they travel to warmer places for the winter. Other bats hibernate. They spend the winter in a cave, a building, or a tree. When the bat hibernates, its heartbeat and its breathing slow down. Today it is hard for bats to find homes. Many trees have been cut down. It's important for people to protect bats and their homes so that bats don't become extinct. Bats come in all shapes and sizes. No matter where they live, bats are interesting animals. Look at this. There's a big brown bat. This is one of the specimens that they have here in the Governor Dick Environmental Center. I bet you were wondering where I was today. This would be a great place for you to come and visit. You can look online to see what their hours are, and you can bring your scavenger hunt paper that I gave you and hike up in the mountain here and see what you can find. It's a great place to hike and a great center to visit. Remember about bats? How do bats sleep? I got 2 bats here. Are they real bats? No, they're just my puppets. But how do they sleep? Bats are sleeping, bats are sleeping, upside down, sleeping in the morning sun, waiting for the night to come. Then they fly around, then they fly around. Can you sing it with me? Put your fingers upside down. Bats are sleeping, bats are sleeping, upside down, sleeping in the morning sun, waiting for the night to come. And what happens? Then they fly around, then they fly around. Oh, where'd they go? Bye, bat. Here's a little bat with its night song. See if you can remember that word, echolocation. See if that might be his night song. This is by Harry Burke and Lauren Long. Can you tell that it's nighttime? The sun had set and the shadows were clinging to the walls of the cave. And they began to wake and whisper. Cairo, little wing, the busy mother bat said to her child. Tonight you must fly out into the world, and I will wait here for you. But the night is dark, Mama. Darker than a moth's dark wings. Darker even than the water before dawn, the little bat exclaimed, twitching his ears this way and that. I know, whispered his mother. And when it is that dark outside, I cannot always see, Cairo admitted, stretching his wings. There are other ways to see, she told him, other ways to help you make your way in the world. How? Use your good sense. What sense? The little bat asked. His mother folded him in her wings and whispered into his waiting ears. Sense is the song you sing out into the world and the song that the world sings back to you. Sing and the world will answer. That is how you will see. Now fly from our cave to the pond where we bats like to best to eat. Have your breakfast and then fly home. But do not go farther than the pond. Not unless your song is sure. Cairo fell into the cold air for an instant, then flapped and turned and flew out past the mouth of the cave and into the waiting night. At first, Cairo tried to peer his way through the dark. Long arms rose up in front of him, waving slowly, blocking his path. He could not see around them or over them, and Cairo was frightened. It's mostly just a lot of trees, isn't it? But then Cairo remembered his mother's bright words. Use your good sense. So Cairo began to sing, softly at first, but then more surely. His song flew ahead of him, and soon he could hear something singing back. Tall trees called back out to him. They chanted the lengths of their long branches and the girths of their rough trunks. Gleefully he flew through the woods, past pines, over maples, and away. Flying higher now, Cairo saw something sliding through the sky towards him. So out went his song, and where danger once threatened, now Cairo saw only a flock of friends flying above him on their evening errands. A flock of Canada geese. This is how his sound is going out. As he flew further, Cairo sang strange sounds. He heard strange sounds of noise. 1,000 voices buzzing from one end of the sky to the other. For just a moment, Cairo didn't know what to do. He didn't know which way to go. But he followed his own song. In the sky behind him flowed a river of whispers, fading away. pond was just ahead. When Cairo came to the pond, singing still, he was very hungry, kind of like that very hungry caterpillar. All night, creatures were there above the reeds, thousands of tiny, flying, tasty things, each one humming a different tune. For Cairo, each of their songs sounded like breakfast. Remember what that's like? Especially insects. Cairo ate well that night. When he was full, he stretched his wings again, and he thought about flying home. Then he began to wonder just a little what lay beyond the pond, what lay beyond his mother's world. So Cairo flew a bit farther, and the familiar fell away from him, out to the margins of the world. He was truly on his own. He flew fast toward a high dune, each grain of sand calling out in chorus as he passed. Cairo flapped up and over the top of the sand dune and out over the sand, singing louder than he ever sang before. Out went his song over dark water, then again and again, each wave on the ocean rising up to greet him, each splash of sea foam becoming kin to him. The sky began to change, grow light, and cast long shadows over the shore. With the morning came memory, his mother's voice, her warm wings. Cairo knew it was time to go home. Flying higher than he'd ever flown, Cairo began to sing. Listening, listening. The music of the land rose up in all of its many textures, each tree, each cliff, each place he passed, until finally the song of home added its voice to the others. His cave called out from the blanketing shrubs and pillows of moss, and Cairo followed the familiar sound back into the sheltering earth, back into his home cave. His mother caught him all up in her wings and asked, "Was it very dark in the world, little wing? What did you see?" "Why, Mama," Cairo said, laughing, "it was very, very dark. And I saw everything." Then he yawned and turned his head into the warmth of her body, letting the rising sun's quiet song carry him, lull him, sing him to sleep. Cairo comes from the word Chiroptera, which is the class of bats, and it means hand wing. His wings can fold up like a hand and use them to catch things. Here's my 5 little bats. You can hold up 5 little fingers. Look at my bats. They're upside down. Why do you think they're upside down? You're right. They're sleeping. 5 little bats sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. The sun sets and the moon shines bright, and one little bat flies fast out of sight. 4 little bats sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. The sun sets and the moon shines bright, and one little bat flies fast out of sight. How many are left? Help me say it. 3 little bats sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. And the sun sets and the moon shines bright, and one little bat flies fast out of sight. You can make your hand hide. 1, 2. 2 little bats sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. The sun sets and the moon shines bright, and one little bat flies fast out of sight. How many are left? Just one. One little bat sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. The sun sets and the moon shines bright. And one little bat flies fast out of sight. Now how many? None. Zero. No little bat sleeping in a tree, hanging upside down where no one else can see. The sun comes up, and away the stars creep, and those 5 little bats come back to what? The sun comes up. And the stars creep, and those 5 little bats come back to sleep. Good night, bats. In the daytime. Are they sleeping in the daytime? Here's the bat that's in your pack. If you didn't get a pack this month, make sure you stop at the library and pick one up. First, you need to color your bat. I made mine brown and gray. You can see his furry body and his leathery wings. You can fold them up a little bit, just like bat does. Like that. How's that? There we go. And then he can, if you put the glue, there's the back, there's the front. After you cut it out, you need to glue the wings together, but try not to put any glue on the middle, on the body. And then when you glue it together, you can put your finger up and you can make your bat fly all around. That'll be fun. Some other books that are at the library that you might like are Beautiful Bats by Linda Glazer. Hello, Bumblebee Bat by Patricia Wynn and Darren Lund. 5 Little Bats Flying in the Night by Steve Metzger. And a favorite of a lot of my friends, Stella Luna by Janelle Cannon. Stella Luna is a fruit bat. You might like that story. Well, I think our time has come to an end. Can you help me say goodbye? You ready? See ya later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Give a hug, ladybug. Blow a kiss, jellyfish. See ya soon, you big raccoon. Out the door, dinosaur. Take care, polar bear. Wave goodbye, butterfly. See ya next week.